I invite any of the children that would like to come up into the sanctuary.
And if you want to go up, go ahead. Some of you need this.
Somebody's got to be first. How many are getting ready for First Communion? Quite a few. It's only like 5 or 6 weeks away. Pretty good. What do I have here? Not holy water, it's Poland Springs water. What do we do sometimes when we drink water? Tastes so good. Where do you get water? Stop and Shop? The sink. You're pretty lucky, you know. You probably don't realize it. But some parts of the world, they don't have water in their houses. Years and years ago, I took a trip to a place called Ethiopia. It's in Africa. And they were having a drought. That means they didn't have much water. And we would be out in the countryside, all just dirt blowing all over the place. And I would see 2 or 3 kids, not much bigger than you guys, and they'd be carrying a big container. Sometimes they would strap it on their back. And I asked the local people, I said, where are they going? And they told me they're going to get water for their family because they didn't have any water at their home. And they would walk hours and hours to get the water. And once they put the water in the bucket, sometimes it was so heavy that they put a stick through the handle and 2 of them would carry the water. But we're lucky enough to get water at the Stop and Shop or in your sink all the time. In the time of Jesus, they didn't have water in their houses. And the story in the gospel today is how Jesus went to a well. Anybody know what a well is? You used to have one in your yard, but not anymore? It was a big hole, and you would... You'd put the bucket way down to get water, and that's where Jesus was. He was at a well, and he spoke to this woman. Now, you and I wouldn't think too much about having a conversation with a woman, but in the time of Jesus, the Jews wouldn't speak to a woman in public. It was considered not good to do that. And even more so, this woman wasn't a Jew, she was a Samaritan. That was a different religion. And the Jews and the Samaritans didn't like each other. But Jesus speaks to the woman. And he says, can you give me a drink? And then the conversation changes, and Jesus says, you know, if you knew what I had to give you, you'd ask me for water, living water, and you'd never thirst again. Do you know what that thing is down at the end of the aisle? What? It's holy water. What do we do with that holy water? You do the prayer. Or you get baptized there. You get the answer. There's going to be a baptism there today. And with baptism, we use water. The next time you go by that baptismal font, look in it. What's the water doing? It's moving. It's moving. It's supposed to be like the living water that Jesus talks about in the gospel. Because what happens in how many of you were baptized? All of you, I think. All of you were baptized. So you had that water poured over your head. That's a gift that Jesus gives us. And we are moving towards a big, big feast called Easter. And on Easter, some adults get baptized. And all of us kind of renew our baptism. It's not like water like this, but the priest or the deacon will go down the aisle and sprinkle all of us with water. And that's to remind us of the living water that Jesus gives us in baptism. And we renew ourselves. And for many of the adults, it's a time to remember our need to undergo conversion, to undergo change. Lent is a time to recognize that we need to be washed clean again. Perhaps confess our sins and be renewed, and to rejoice in the really life-giving gift of Easter.
And Jesus rises on Easter.
Jesus rises on Easter. That's the whole point of the story. So today we're talking about water. And I want you to remember that when you come to Mass on Easter, you're going to be sprinkled with water because it's life-giving. And we need water to exist. We become really like a church for the Spirit when we get that water. You know that your body is like 95% water? And what Jesus is saying, and that's holy. You are holy. And you can even be holier by the way that you live. I see some of you have a cross that you're wearing, that you were given when you received your first penance or confession, either yesterday or the week before, so that you have been forgiven. That's what we always remember, that no matter what we do, Jesus always forgives us. So next time you have a glass of water today, remember how blessed you are to have it, but also how blessed you are to have Jesus give you the living water of baptism. Time to go back to your place. Careful of the steps.